saying a special good morning to those of you listening to Classic Radio 105.5, 105.9. Those of you viewing via GBN TV, whether it's Channel 7, Channel 11, Channel 20. Good morning to you. Welcome. It's to the point. It's Monday, the 16th day of December, 2024. Yes. Let me say also good morning to Mr. Sylvan McIntyre. Good morning to you, sir. I ain't seen you in a long time. Man. You went away or something?
Good morning. You are Gary Telesford? Yeah. Very good. Yeah.
I haven't seen you in a while.
I've been around. Well, it happened to be your fault because I think you had some challenge, you had some difficulties or so forth. And
yes, that was one
inadvertently you were absent.
But there were some other programs that overtook your program that we had to substitute you for. Those were basically the reasons why we didn't have you on for at least, was it two?
Yes, yeah, but I didn't intermittent. I think last week we did not have, the week before we had, and the week prior, somebody else had it. Yes. Well, it's understood in terms of juggling with the priorities and you know what take precedence at a particular time. So we have had no problem with that.
So besides that, how is everything else, sir? How is everything?
Everything has been good. I'm giving thanks. I'm grateful for a lot of things, and most likely this is going to be your last program on Monday for the year.
For the rest of the year,
most likely. Yeah. I think it is. So we will focus on a journey for 2024 and look at how we're going to chart the course for 2025. It has been a very, very fruitful year. It has been a very active and productive week for us, almost 2 weeks that we have not been on the program. But we follow the issues closely. There has been some progress, and as we do our program this morning and we look back at some of the highlights of 2024, some of the things that we advocated for, we clamored for, we stayed on, some of the people that lend the support to the program, and some of the initiative where we can really see that we have made an indent and where we can improve further. That is tremendous.
Yeah, sure. I mean, our program has certainly made a lot of impact in certain ways.
Yes.
Especially in, of course, sensitizing viewers and listeners in lots of ways, especially when it comes to disasters that, of course, have given them the know-how. Sometimes, what we may have mentioned has made a lot of difference for them in sort of, sensitizing their regular way of looking at things.
That's right.
We spoke a whole lot as relation to traffic.
Right.
Right. We touched the ins and outs. We touched a lot of subject matters that has made some difference in terms of the overall road users.
Absolutely.
You understand? We have done that, and the impact, the response, I should say, has shown that what we've been doing here for the year, almost going into 2 years.
Oh, yeah, it's 2 years.
Going into 2 years, so, has certainly made a lot of difference.
A lot of difference, and understanding the genesis of the program, where it came from, a tragedy that drove us to having an initiative that would help others.
Yes.
And as you mentioned, the impact of the program, last week I was in the mall. I was going to obviously pay my bill with the flow.
Yeah.
And this lady rushed up to the counter and she was so excited to see me. And she said, "We follow your program every time. My mother, always want to follow the program. It means so much." And she, what was really moving? She said, "As a driver, your program has really sharpened me and enlightened me. I've become so much more aware of issues on the road." I said, "You guys are so on point with the issues," and that in itself, it paid me 1.5 million, in terms of reward.
He wasn't thinking of coming back this morning.
So, but I always say, GT, if we move one person, we're able to touch and reach one person. That is so good. And again, every week as we move around, the people that say to us that they follow the program. There's a gentleman I knew who was in custom. He said, "Man, I follow you." I met Pastor Halen. Good morning to you. I met them, his wife, and so forth at one of the shopping centers, and they said they follow the program. And they said, "You mean so much to Grenada and what you guys are doing. So just keep up the good works." And so as we went along, we always like to give the flowers.
Yes.
And we always like to look at the impacts that we may have had in some things. Remember, we spoke about the Grand Etang area. There are some issues there still. And we spoke about improving aesthetics and environment and appeal for places and stuff like that.
We had at least 3 programs in relation to speaking about
the Grand Etang.
Every Mondays in subsection going.
Yeah.
Speaking about the Grand Etang issue.
Okay.
We had feedback from folks calling in, sharing their views on the Grand Etang flooding situation also. So and it had made some difference because when we spoke about it, there was nothing going on.
That's correct. That's correct.
Of course, Hurricane Beryl came and then we saw some work started.
It expanded on public.
It triggered the work that should have taken place there a long time ago.
Yes.
You know, it has sort of ceased for now. I wish it could continue and they could do more.
It's gonna happen again. It's gonna happen. They're gonna continue that move because you know what? We're not gonna be silent.
Yes.
But the flowers. Remember we spoke about beautifying and planting flowers.
Yeah.
As you come through the Black Forest, that strip from the bridge heading up, there's a expanse of land there.
I actually saw the individuals who were planting
flowers. You saw them?
Was it a Saturday?
I don't know who they are. You saw them.
But
did you say thank you?
I didn't. I was sometimes you don't want to. Something I hate doing is obstruction of traffic. Okay? If I had stopped at the time and obstruct the traffic behind me, so I just don't like doing it.
You one of those good citizens.
I just don't like doing it. It bugs me doing it because I don't like it being done to me. So sometimes I just try to avoid it at all costs.
Right.
You know, and on my way up to Grand Letang, I actually saw them plant. I actually saw the GBN van there, so I'm not sure if they
GBN may have taken a shot of that.
Maybe there was some shots.
I hope they did and highlight it because when people do good, we need to really praise them for it, and that's a really noble initiative. We wish that could be copied or expanded throughout. That across Grenada, in some cases that we used to do. Right in the corner where you are, everybody take a page of it, particularly in the rural areas where flowers grow much more easier.
Yeah.
So if people are able to, you don't have to pay for them.
So
just across Grenada, you can. I have a strip of a property up in St. Andrew, and I do have some flower plants and all these things there. And people tell me you should expand on that. It make lots of money and everything else. Yeah, and we can also do the same thing in expanding along our roadsides where the people do the debushing rather than sometimes doing the debushing. You can do the grooming of the flowers, and some of these plants will actually help and prevent land slippage.
You know, that's a good initiative because sometimes it could create a level of employment.
Yes.
Folks are doing this on maybe twice per month when they go groom the plants, remove the weed and stuff from it. That can help. If there's designated areas where they can do it.
Yes.
You understand? You don't want to put in areas where it's not designated to do it.
Yeah.
You know, but that's a good initiative. Maybe the authority could look into for 2025.
They definitely should look at that and expand on that. And recently, I think within the last week as well, I attended a meeting with Friends of the Earth.
Yes.
And they are strong on the environment, and they were speaking about some environmental issue. We are speaking about land development and so on, and the Physical Planning and Development Agency, the PD, I think they call it, and some of the issues where the environment is concerned. And I think if we are more conscious of the environment in terms of drains and plants and removing of things and dumping practices and building practices, we can become better. So if we are able to double up and triple up on our effort in terms of, you can get a lot more out of some initiative beautifying and at the same time saving the environment. That is so critical, because when you look at the dumping practices, there are a lot of disadvantages because it gives you this nasty, ugly looking condition. And then it helps in blocking your drains. It gets into your streams and riverway, and contamination and pollution, all of that take place. But if you clean up, you do proper dumping, you're saving the environment and you're creating beauty, and you're creating a kind of aesthetics where we all would want to be. So that is one of the things that we wanted to really speak about as some of the things that we see happening. And as we continue to speak about the Grand Letang and the beautifying and so on, in 2025, as we're going to look forward, there are some initiatives up there that we're still going to push on.
Yes.
Some of the retaining walls, they are still very low.
Yes.
Over the years, the asphalt that they've built to rise the road, in some cases, they've gone up to almost the level of these retainers. And so as the shrubbery and the grass grow, people can't see them. As you pull off close to even the Seven Sisters Fall and that area coming from Grenville side, there's a wall there. You can see the marks on it that people hit oftentimes. Yeah. And lower down by the
bushes has overgrown.
Yeah. And as you're coming towards the Brutchko area today, first and last, just around that area there, Avica went over that end one time, one of those goods vans. And the wall also is right on the level of the road. And so I think the reason why that vehicle went down, because it chipped on the edge of that, and it tipped and went over. We look at a few of them, and I think as we go through, retainers are something we are definitely gonna look at guardrails and retainers. We're gonna press that a lot more to ensure that when people drive, apart from creating the physical barrier and resistance when something happens, but the psychological impact it would have in terms of your own feeling of safety is a lot, because people drive through a lot of these areas and they feel unsafe, and when you feel unsafe you panic, and so your thinking process will not be the same. If people can see, that there are guardrails, in some cases it creates a false sense of security anyway, of safety, but they do have the positive impact that people feel someone is looking out for our own safety.
Well, it's there, so maybe I am safe. Someone is thinking that way.
Absolutely.
You understand? Even though depending on the level of impact, it may not. But you get a tendency to feel because that is there.
Yeah.
It can save your life for some reason. Just having that notion that is there can save your life. It can make you feel safer in your driving, pursuit that you go along.
Absolutely. So today's program, we are intending, as you know, to highlight some of the things that we really focused on for the last year and a half, or 2 years. Basically, we're gonna touch on them. We did say, coming to the end, we will focus on our objectives and project for 2025. We did say that today we were going to speak on some of the lighting issues as a road safety, in terms of the kind of lights that vehicles use and the impact, because I've had a few people calling and saying to me, we need to really speak about that on our program because it's becoming outrageous. And in addition to that, the lightings on our streets, on pedestrian crossings and so on. I think it was only last evening I was coming through, was it the Wall Street area? And there were two gentlemen, they were traveling across the street. And I happened to just glimpse them at the right corner of my eye. But the vehicle coming from St. George's, from the cemetery end, they had already slowed. But as I was coming there, these guys was, and because I'm alert towards the pedestrian crossing, I saw these guys. Two things. One, we have to let people know that when you are a pedestrian, especially at night, you should have something kind of a reflective. If you don't have it, be very, very cautious when going across a pedestrian cross. And two, it is saying to us as our road and traffic authority and police, we should ensure that the lighting, particularly at pedestrian crossings, that motorists can see, because you're not expected as a motorist to be driving with your light on full beam. So it will limit your visibility sometimes when you get to pedestrian cross. So if those markings, the zebra crossings, are reflective as well, you can see them from a distance. And if people who are crossing, they have reflected, you can also see them. But if the area has spotlights that are spotting onto those pedestrian crossings, you can definitely see that people are crossing.
And I've had people visible.
I've had people saying to me as well that if you look at the quality and the type of the lights, we moved to white and LED type lights, and still we have, I don't know whether it is Grenlec or otherwise, who are installing those yellow lights that really don't give you the kind of a illumination that you require. Because when you look at the strip of Morris Bishop Highway as well, there's a lot to be desired in terms of the lighting, because light versus speed has something to do with impacts and your thinking and braking distance as well. Because if you're not able to see at a particular distance, if something shows up on you at a particular speed, it would come closer to you at a particular speed unknowingly. But if you have the visibility that projects beyond, you can start readjusting yourself, even if you are within the speed limit. But if you are able to see images distance away, you are able to be safer on the road. And so our authority has a responsibility, not just vehicle drivers, but our authority has the responsibility to ensure that our roadways, our traffic ways, even some of our streets and alleyways, they should be lit better. And the type of lights, the yellow ones, they really don't do us the kind of a justice, and they should be spotting in particular areas.
So, Mac, we drew for a break. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we continue with our conversation this morning. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We'll be right back after the break. Don't touch your dial, folks. We'll be right back.
Coming up, it's the season for love, as this movement makes a difference for yet another year. The food we're serving, cocktails flowing, and the rhythms ongoing. Welcome everyone to a truly joyous edition of Caribbean Passport. It's all next on this station.
Hello Hello everyone, here's an invitation to join me this and every Sunday until December 22nd for Yuletide Sundays, GBN TV and K105 FM from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. as we feature the best in traditional Christmas music and the opportunity to win great gifts including cakes, hams and a range of beverages. Yuletide Sundays, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. until December 22nd. Compliments Grenville Credit Union, Grenada Paper Products, Carries the Light, and Vibe Island Drinks Hard Seltzer.
I'm Stacia Blake with GBN News. From all of us here at the Grenada Broadcasting Network, we wish you and your family a joyous holiday season filled with peace, love, and happiness. Thank you for continuing to make GBN our nation's #1 newscast. It's been our honor throughout 2024 to bring you timely updates of local and international news, and we'll continue to earn your trust as we move into 2025. We wish our beautiful island nation God's continued protection as we move forward as one people who are on one journey with one future. Happy holidays from the GBN News team.
Welcome back once again, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, to The Point, Classic Radio GBN TV. It's 22 minutes after the hour this morning. It's the Monday's edition of To The Point. Back with just this morning, once again, Mr. Silver McIntyre. Mr. McIntyre, you know, you closed off in that first segment talking about lights. I want us to kind of expand on it a little bit.
Yeah.
Because, you know, in these day and times, the newer vehicles are coming in now. They all have those LED lights that are on them.
Yeah.
And they are bright.
That's what I have HID, I think.
They more call them the LEDs and so on.
Yes.
Offer lots of luminance in terms of the wattage of it.
Yeah.
I want you to maybe, for the benefit of road users or drivers per se, who thinks that I need that bright luminance light to drive on a nation's road. We know there are areas you may need a bright light. I understand that.
Yeah.
But there are times where you're driving where there's lots of light maybe coming from the street lights and so forth. So you don't need that level of light coming from your vehicle also.
Right.
You should be able to see.
Right.
And if you're unable to see, you should be checking a medical doctor or something on this one.
Of course.
You understand? So I maybe want you to tell our listeners, viewers this morning, the danger that could occur with folks driving along with those heavy luminance coming from those lights.
Yeah.
You know, the impact it could have on the approaching driver. It may be okay for you because you are seeing clearly.
Yeah.
But supposedly that another driver who's approaching you now may not have that level of luminance of you that you are exposing to him. And you know how that could distract a driver, you understand, in terms of the light spotting in his eyes and so forth. And I have known of a lot of folks who may have had to stop, drive off the road for some reason, or pull to the corner of the road because of that bright light that is coming from the approaching driver. Your take on that, from the dangerous part of it, your take on that.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Good angle. So before we really speak on the danger side of it, I think we want to contextualize it in terms of the type of light itself and how they can be used. And the conversation is also pointing in a particular direction, in that we have vehicles that are customized, so they do their customized.
Well, as I said, the newer models that are coming usually come with these particular lights. Yes.
And so our regulation also speak on the type of lights that should be affixed to motor vehicles. It is also saying that we have to move with the time and adjust with the time. And like we've done, and has it been done in some countries with the tint, there is, and even with the music, with the decibel levels and so forth, there are instruments that will tell you what is the wattage of the lights required in vehicles. There are places, even in Grenada, in workplaces. I remember one time there was a gentleman who walked into one of our offices when I was a cop then, and he said, you know what, I've been into a few police stations and offices, and most police officers will suffer with eye problems. And the reason why he said that is because he figured that and said that the lighting was not appropriate for the condition in which they were operating.
Okay.
So where this is pointing, it is saying to us that we must have instruments to be able to determine the level and the luminance and the type of wattage that is required for particular conditions. There are also something called the spotlights.
Yes.
And the spotlights can either have the LED type, which is whiter, and you have the other type, which is kind of a more yellow type looking light.
Yeah.
The type of light in terms of projection, there are some lights that would project straight on, there are some that are angled upward, and some that are angled downward. Even that in itself would have its negative impact on road users, even pedestrian and driver. So that now we have to get to the point where we need to have an instrument where we've done it in some cases. I said the type of tint that is required. So you put that meter onto the vehicle, it will tell you the amount of translucence that's allowed through that tint of the glass. The other aspect of it is now the decibel level in terms of the music. There's an instrument that you can use even on your phones.
Yes.
To measure the decibel level for music in vehicles and in your house and so on, that the police again they can enforce through law. We have the alcohol level. Again, you have instruments that can measure, breathalyze in terms of the amount of alcohol people need to have into the system that is allowed. I am not too sure that we have gone to the stage of regulating the kind of light, not just what the law says about the type of light, but the kinds in terms of what strength it should have and projection and the luminance level that it requires. But you mentioned the safety factor and the danger of it. There's a lot of danger in terms of the amount of light and the type of light and how it's being used. And the report that we've been getting is that people have been indiscriminate, and in some cases people have been ignorant in terms of how to use the light. And so the enforcement mechanism has to be more regimented, but it has to be guided by something. The instrument in terms of the physical measurement, and then the law in terms of enforcing what you say is the allowed and the permissible lights that one should really have. Now, the danger of all of this is that when light strikes directly in someone's eye, there's something you can have which is called temporary blindness. If you stare directly into a light, you can get the retina reacts to it in a particular way, so that you can get this temporary few seconds of blindness where you can see nothing in your view coming towards you. And so one of the ways in dealing with that is that people who are driving where another driver strikes a light that is beyond the resistance of your eye at that point, because people again would have varying level in terms of what amount of light the eye can accommodate.
So true.
And so the testings of your eye and the glasses and other things will tell you whether you need to have bifocal or other type lighting that you need, adjustable, and so that can change from one point to the other at particular time. So even that has its own impact. So people need to know how their own level of light, what it can have on them. And a way of dealing with lights in general, if you're driving at night, is never to stare directly into an oncoming light. If it happens to take you on inadvertently, you're slow. Stay as much to the left of the road, look to the left side of the road and stop or prepare to stop. And that's a safety measure. But lights in general can throw people off and it can create accidents. So it has impact, one, on your eye, and two, on the safety on you having the ability to control the vehicle on road. But the bottom line of it is that people do not understand how to use their lights, and they think that the brighter the lights is easier for them to come along. And this is another reason why, through the process of getting people to get to their license, even driving at night and the use of your lights is something that should be encapsulated within the driving licensing process. So people should know. And I think there's an exam within the license that speak as to when should you use your.
So you're saying maybe it could happen where, in terms of your driving examination, some folks should be given the opportunity to drive at night to see how they handle a vehicle at night.
It's one of the things we want to press strongly, because we believe our time.
Most folks when you've been taught to drive,
in the day.
It's done in the daytime.
Yeah.
So there's much light, there's more visibility of everything. You can see everything, but nighttime is a different.
It's a different thing.
It's a different thing.
And people take more of the road space at nights.
Yeah.
Because they think that something coming, you're going to see around the corner, or you're going to see the light coming around the corner, so you can veer back to your side. But you're right. In general, we have to be able to put that in there. And there is a dim and there's a bright, or people call it the dip and the bright.
I mean, and that's also a cause of concern. There are folks who do not know the time or when to use their bright, when they should dim their lights and use their bright lights.
Right.
And there are folks since they get into that vehicle would put on their bright lights. So folks would say in the US, and somebody would say your bright lights,
right,
or your highlights. Sorry,
high beam.
Your high beam. They put on your highlights and use that for the throughout the entire journey for the night.
And there are people who are totally ignorant that they don't understand
and do not see the obstruction that they are causing for the approaching driver, or sometimes even pedestrians. Also, by that light being that bright, it can obscure a pedestrian walking. You understand?
Definitely
because the lights is in your eyes and so on.
Definitely
even worse for the approaching driver. We do have a call. I've been trying to call for a while. Let's see what they want to contribute.
Okay, let's just
of course, caller live. Good morning.
Good morning to you, gentlemen. Very, very important subject, lighting. And as Mr. McIntyre did say, that the ability to adjust to the lighting is so important. And as when people get older, the ability to adjust to light diminishes. I don't know if you know when you did biology about the rods and the cones in your eyes and things of that sort. And a number of people my age have stopped driving at night. The good drivers, nothing is really wrong with their vision, but they just can't cope with the light. And the Bible says, "Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path." And as you mentioned just now, the dim and the bright.
Yeah.
As I say to folks, a lamp is just to guide your path. Right in front of your feet there, the lamp. That's the dim. When you meet another vehicle, you don't need to see across the street. You need to see just where you're putting your left end of your car. So when you put on your dip switch, it's become just a lamp to make sure that you're not hitting the curb. The light is to light up the path, the high beam, so you can see way ahead if somebody's in the road, if there's an obstruction along the way. But people keep it on high beam. Even when they're reversing. Have you seen that happen?
Yes.
They're going in the opposite direction and they're still on high beam.
Or when they stop as well.
Yes, that's when the person who's coming and they don't even need the light. So the lamp is a low beam, just to give you a few feet in front of your vehicle. The light is when it's in a poorly illuminated area and you need to see far ahead. But many people don't seem to know that. It's something we have to educate people about. Very, very important topic this morning. Thank you.
Thank you
caller.
much,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And
the caller that made a point there, especially the older folks who are driving, the elderly who are driving.
Yes.
Most time you would never see elderly folks driving at a particular time.
They want to get off the road.
Yeah.
Because they feel disgusted that they can't take. They say they can't live with the new.
I don't want us to get too dominated by the calls, but we will probably take one more and then we move on.
Yes.
Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Hi, thank you very much. Pleasant good morning to one and all. Pleasant good morning to you, Mr. McIntyre.
Morning, sir.
I've been following your program ever since, from the onset. I was one who had called first and wish you condolences on the death of your son. The first caller had already expounded on the light system. So this is one problem. I hope this could be controlled and changed. The second problem, which is a major one, where I live here in Pedmotor on the Eastern Main Road, and there are some huge SL trucks that traverse this road daily, morning, noon, and night. And my gosh, I have two relatives of mine. Well, I myself is in a wheelchair. I'm in a house. And these guys, from the time they leave Pedmotor Junction and to go down before they take the St. Dominic's Old School, man, they stick the horn. They have their hands on this bell, this horn, and they just won't ease up. I mean, 3, 4, 5 of them. I wish you all could probably get something done about this, because it's affecting us as senior citizens in this country. And I'm saying again to you, Pedmota Junction, till you get to the St. Dominic's Old School, and if possible, if you can get to the police and whatnot, and have people on this road to monitor these trucks and whatnot, because just as I'm talking to you here now, about 5 minutes ago, 2 minutes ago, and that was it again. I mean, I expect it to happen in the next half an hour, in the next 2 hours, sometime this evening again, and whatnot. I'm sick and tired. It's affecting my ears, and I know there are other senior citizens in this country, in this particular area that I'm talking about, whatnot, etc. Thirdly, before I go, and the Eastern Indian Ocean, well, what we had on Saturday, and yesterday we had some of it. And I would like for the Grenada people to take heed, because we don't know exactly what would happen. I'll leave it there for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much for your contribution this morning.
So I really want to thank the callers, and I mentioned our environment, and a definition of the environment speaks of the things around us naturally, that's around us, below, beneath, and above.
Yes.
And so the environment has to be cared for in many different ways, because we live within it, and so we have to care for it, and we have to also care for each other. And so as we progress, as we development comes with a cost, and sometimes we do not always do the impact assessment as to what some kinds of development would have, and sometimes not just on the physical environment, but the social, spiritual, and other things that can have on people. As the gentleman spoke of the vehicles, the weight vehicles that traverse our roads, the horns, they're not the traditional horns embedded within the vehicle. They are the explosive horns that are external, and they really are amplified.
Yeah.
And are they really necessary? And
they're referred to as air horns. Right?
Air horns.
Yeah.
That's correct. And as they move around, as the tranquility that we grew with and expected to live and maintain and retire and age properly, those things do become a distraction, and sometimes it could deteriorate our senior citizens who contributed so much to the development of this country. And so because they cannot sleep well, they cannot rest well, it can cause you to lose age and time. And these are some of the things that we should look at. And the other negative impact that the tonnage of these vehicles are having, the time when our roads have been built, they were not built to accommodate all of those. And so we now have to go back and reconsider. You realize there are a number of roads that are breaking in some places, they are sinking in some places. Some of the retainers that we have over 60, 140 years ago. And in my program in 2025, we'll be taking our cameras to the streets.
Yes.
And a lot of these things will be highlighted, including the bridges that are deteriorating across country. And so we have to get to the point where the volume of the traffic has to be regulated if we are going to accommodate these massive vehicles. And so alternate routes and design routes maybe across will have to be generated for them. Because if they're going to be using our traditional roads, it's going to be costing us so much to just continue putting those chewing gum patch on the streets, because ever so often you have the putty and the chewing gum patch going around, because we have all these holes emerging and cracks occurring on our roads. So the gentleman is absolutely on point in terms of what kind of an impact those horns and those lights can have on our environment, including our individuals.
But isn't part of the laws that there's a particular time when you can use your horns? Is there anything?
There's something about using horns at nights.
I think from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. you should.
And that is something that need to be revisited and so forth. And the whole aspect in terms of lighting, when you should light up, and the type of lights and so on. We need to be hearing more programs on that. But I don't think in a lot of ways that we short of instruments, including programs, about all these measures. We've always clamored that one of the weaknesses that we have, small weaknesses we do have, is our ability to enforce those measures that are in place that are on our books that we should really enforce.
I think the problem too, a lot of them are left unattended too.
They left unattended. They sit there. I think initially when our laws and legislatures got into sitting and putting these together, they were really thoughtful and they were visionaries in terms of where things could have gone.
For the time
they lived and into to where we are. As we looked at, even as we are speaking about building codes and all of that, they're so thorough in a lot of ways. But the weakness in the system is that we just leave them there and we do not really enforce them. Yeah. And so if we become more rigid in terms of enforcing those things that we worked hard for over the years, we think we can see better results.
We should. We drew for a break. Let's take it. When we come back, we continue with the discussion here. It's To The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We'll be right back.
Hi, we're here at Answer Coating Grenada Limited, a proud sponsor of Christmas with GBN. And this year, we're giving up to 40% off various items.
And the customers actually have the opportunity to win up to $1,000 cash. So we encourage you to stay tuned to Christmas with GBN and look out for all other in-store promotions and product information.
And don't forget, this December, a night of shopping with Answer Coatings.
Proud sponsors of Christmas with GBN includes Ace Hardware, Hubbard's, Flow, Grenada Duty Free, and Answer Coatings.
Grenada, get ready to celebrate the magic of the season with Christmas with GBN. Starting November 4th, join us weekdays from 10 a.m. to 12 noon on GBN Television, K105 and Hot 98.
Monday kicks off with traditional stories and wellness, featuring a storytelling session with Labukan Creative Center, giveaways, nutrition tips, and live calls to share your holiday wishes. On Tuesday brings Craft Day with live and pre-recorded workshops guided by local artisans. Join us for more giveaways and connect through live calls. Wednesday features an outdoor production showcase, giving local sponsors a chance to shine from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. On Thursday, it highlights a local cuisine showcase at True Blueberry Resort. And on Friday, it wraps up the week with live entertainment in our...
Welcome back once again to our listeners. Welcome back, viewers, To The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We have roughly 20 minutes left on our show this morning.
Oh, yeah, time
roughly 20 minutes left on the program this morning. So, Mac, I want to shift the conversation. 2025 is approaching.
Yes.
We have done and has said a lot in 2024 thus far. We have not gone to the actual end of 2024 as yet, but we have certainly, said a lot that has created an impact in terms of what we see happening on our nation's roads, and we have seen some changes have taken place. Because I would say, due to the program offering those throwing out those information, the authorities maybe have listened, but I won't say maybe they have listened.
Yeah.
They have listened.
They've listened
and took some measures, but we want to see more happening in 2025.
Yes.
Especially when it comes to road and so forth.
Safety.
That's as important.
Yes.
The issue of hazards and so forth, and you spoke of the bridges and all of these things, that could create a hazard sometime to come. You want to see something taking place with that in 2025.
Yes.
More, and as you mentioned before the break, you said we will be taking the cameras around, more videos, more pictures, more highlighting of areas around the island that need attention.
Yes.
Some have been left to deteriorate for far too long over the years. Mm-hmm. I have seen areas where it's been like that for more than 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we know there are folks in authority who are responsible for that, who have just left it like that. Mm-hmm. And they traverse these areas on a daily basis themselves.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, what are they thinking?
Right.
You understand? Are they really caring about the environment themselves in terms of how other road users for themselves and pedestrians themselves? How important is that?
Yeah.
So we want to push that for that particular way, how we want to see things change for 2025. Hopefully.
Yes. So in my opinion, there's nothing that happens without a reason, and sometimes you say things don't happen before it's time.
Yeah.
And I believe that we are in the kingdom for such a time like this.
Yeah.
I think our country, our region, they're facing difficult times and challenges, and they need people, that have the ability, the tenacity to be able to speak out on the issues, be fearless of what the negative consequences are likely to be out of a positive situation. And so we have no regrets in terms of raising the issue, and I think people have shown their appreciation in 2022, 23, 24 for what we've been doing on this program, and we would not lose the focus nor the energy in continuing to push that for 2025. I want to just single out and give some kudos to the CTO of the Ministry of Works, who's been working and trying to implement a lot of the things, the initiatives that a lot of them that we've mentioned should be looked into, and we have to give praises where praises is due.
I mean, we understand the bureaucracy that goes into having these things done.
Yes, and so while we focus on safety, one life is one life too many to lose. Our fingers to our chest and our hands to our chest, that 2024 would not have had, in terms of statistics, a worse statistic than 2023. We're hoping that the statistics would work in our favor, and not in terms of the amount of accident, again, has to be balanced according to volume, and not just the numbers, because the amount of vehicles that comes in on a day-to-day basis would mean that you'll have more vehicles on the road, and so the likelihood of accidents will be greater. So I'm holding my hand to my chest with the police that they can say to us we've had less fatalities. We know we had at least one more on the Morris Bishop Highway, and the statistic would have shown that maybe it was occurring a bit more. If we don't have any at all and across Grenada, that would be reassuring. We believe that a lot more we can do. So in terms of our interventions, we'd like to see more in terms of road signs and hazard areas. We would want to advocate for support, financing, especially in 2025, to get the permission from the road authority that we can help them establish some signs in some areas that are hazard prone. So for instance, a land slippage area, rockfall area, dangerous curb, etc. We want to see more of these across country. So we'll be appealing more for support to be able to generate and put up these signs across country. As mentioned before, we'll be highlighting those hazards, including some of the guardrails that are deteriorating, the bridges that are deteriorating, the road spaces in some places, and hazards across Grenada. We would take our cameras below those bridges and places and bring them to the fore to the public, so that we can see. The more we have stronger advocacy for those things, the faster and the greater we're going to have them. We continue and will continue to press for, again, our busiest strip of road on our nation is towards the international airport. And so we want those overpass to be installed no later than 2025. We're going to push that happen.
At least the first half of 2025.
At least the first half of 2025, that should be there. We've been shown the schematic, in terms of how they're going to be established. We understand portions of them are already here, and we would wish to see at least within the next couple of weeks or months the commencement of that initiative. And as I went along again and see people, at risk every time, and no sidewalk in that area on the left strip towards the airport, it is something that, again, we're hoping that we can see happen in 2025. In terms of our information process through our schools or institution, we would want safety measures. We would want us as a safety foundation to be able to be supported in going through institution, business places, workplaces, other places of learning, that we can get institutionalized road safety issues across Grenada. And as we become more conscious, we wish that people will see themselves as stakeholders in the process. And not we against them. And it's not the state or the government against the people, but we should all work collectively towards the safety of this country. And as I said before, God has granted us the strength, He has given us the serenity to be able to resist and to go on, and that is what we're hoping to do. I may not be there forever, and I don't want to be the only person to be speaking on the program. We're hoping to see more faces and more people as we go through. This morning we are expecting a mechanic to be on to speak on some of the safety issues that people should look for in vehicles, something that people are not even aware of. As you mentioned again earlier, we would ensure that that is brought on. We spoke about it in 2024. It did not come on as we wanted to. In 2025, we're hoping that we're going to have more. We're going to be able to bring more to people. The safety issues, the physical thing, the audio visuals that we want to be able to bring through, that we would really punctuate and we're able to drive home the real safety issues on our roads and in general.
Another issue I want us to, of course, we're going to highlight a lot. We did it a lot for, of course, 2022, 2023, 2024. We spoke about it. The issue of preparedness for disasters when they do occur. We did focus a whole lot on that, and I think we have made a big impact in terms of how a lot of folks did things. Of course, we saw Hurricane Beryl. I think, of course, some of the conversation that we had on the program has made a lot of difference for folks in terms of preparing their mind mentally. Because preparedness is a key part for this.
Yes.
Because we know climate change and everything else that is occurring in the world today, you have to prepare some way or the other.
Yes.
And we spoke a whole lot also in individuals learning, basic CPR and so forth like that can help them go through that can make a difference to save someone's life. We spoke a whole lot about that. We have numerous shows on that, and I have spoken to someone who told me, I saw that with you and Mr. McIntyre, and I was able to help someone.
Good.
And just for putting it into practice.
Good.
And getting more opportunities to do it, will be a forward. So
yes,
hopefully like that we will continue to advocate more for that coming up in the future programs.
And we're hoping that more institutions and businesses will embrace the opportunity for that. Charity begins at home.
Yeah.
And I'm offering the service to even the staff of GBN. I have to speak to management that at least for 1 hour I would want to be able to sit to the staff of GBN.
I will happily be part of that.
Internal safety procedure, that's something we can go through. I just want to say again that I'm available, and there's a team of us. I represent the Caribbean Disaster Risk Management Solution. That's a company I co-founded, and we do teach and train in disaster risk reduction. We do create plans, policies, simulation exercises, emergency response, and so forth. We do have the ability to do that, to teach first aid, first responders, create simulation exercise and all that. That's the capacity and resource that we have that we can offer to Grenada. So we're homegrown, we're based here. We don't have to go outside to pull people in with their jacket and ties, pay them huge sums of money and get sometime less for it.
All right. We do have a caller. Before we entertain the caller, I just wanted this, of course, a message from someone on WhatsApp saying they want to speak about two issues and they wish to raise. They're saying that during the inspection process, the adjustment of your highlights or your height of your highlights beams needs to be included. Many vehicles on the roads, even when their lights are on dim, it still focuses directly on the eyes, and the drivers are of course the coming vehicle. And the second one is saying large trucks are traveling the secondary and tertiary roads, causing serious damage to our road. That's just two concerns an individual is raising there. Also, we have another, of course, someone was saying about they're talking about big speakers in some vehicles. I guess that's a music issue about that. I guess that's another conversation.
Yeah, there are vehicles that are filled. The back are filled with speakers.
Let's take a caller. Caller, you're live. I guess we lost that caller. This caller was a little bit impatient. I apology for that.
Yes.
So we're moving on. It's to the point we just have about 5 minutes, 5 to 6 minutes left on the program. This segment we'll probably open up the lines.
Yeah, we just open
allow callers to interact with us a bit. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Morning to you and Mr. McIntyre.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you spoke about this thing about Granite Tank and the beautifying, but it's just that we don't do follow-up. But that was an initiative of Mr. Gary when we got the Miss World to beautify from Paul's right down to St. George's and both sides of the road, and that is really one of the reasons why you see all these flowers and a lot in Granite, in Butch Grove and all these things on the different side of the road. Yeah, next one, the lightings and so forth. A couple years ago, I had advised a company that have these reflector bands, and they have about 4 inches, some 8 inches. Give me them and let me or if they want, they can do it because they have authority. Put at least 2 pieces of this band, wrap it around the light poles going around on the airport, especially on the Morris Bishop Byway with that 2-lane road, one left, one right. But it seems they're not seeing it because there's something going on with this friction at this light. Sometimes when the vehicle are coming up and the one going down in the night, it seems like the poles give you a attraction like if there's a man crossing the road. And that make you do funny things or start thinking what to do next, right? Then secondly, now, what I'm noticing, that bottom roundabout, those wooden structure that swing around the roundabout, I noticed that there's getting a sort of friction in the night, like there's a man crossing. And he's on the roundabout and like he looking to cross. Then secondly, now the banana plantation now is causing a barricade now for you not seeing the vehicle when it starts circling. I'm not condemning anything, but I'm just looking at the thing. There's a company, a business a little high as you grading the hill. And what I saw they doing right close to them, the same thing I talk about, some flash bands on these poles they do, and that is doing very good. The roundabout, when I saw that they was trimming down on that wrong part, I thought was an initiative to do all the roundabout. Because our roads right now is like a funnel. But to come to the roundabout is like the bottom part of the funnel where the liquid have to pass through, and you have the open mouth where all these inlet coming in to come in there. So a lot of these roundabouts, this wrong part, I thought it would have continued and take off at least 4 feet from them, and some of these little I don't know what you call it, triangle V part, I look at them, some of these parts need to cut out and make them smaller so that you can give at least 2 vehicles to come around, and then to paint a line in the road that they give them a guidance. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you for your contribution, caller.
The caller gave us almost a year's program technically, which is really, really, really good. Even he spoke about the cultivation and the obstruction and the roundabout. We spoke about that on our last program in terms of obscuring vision.
All right, we do have another caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
My gentlemen, greetings one time, greetings. Now, I'm going to talk about flowers a while ago, briefly in the community. I plant for the Bob Regal Cinema in Paraguay. And every time the breeder men come to cut grass, they destroy all the plants. I plant some inside the gardens where they do the wall by the car park and things inside the gardens there. They cut them all already. All of them dead. With the breeder. So if you just plant flowers, when the worker come, they cut them down. And when the breeder men come and cut in the garden, they cut down all the plants. They skin the plant till they kill it. I come back some again for the past time, he go up again. I'm going to put one anything on it for him to save it. But every time they call, I talk to them about the boss manual, between the plants with the breeder. But it's still doing the same, and it's just still all the skin on the tree. We're talking about traffic now. Saturday night, between Bonds Point and Parak, about the bottom part, 2 accidents. I could end up with 2 accidents. 2 vehicles break the traffic. I walk on the post office side coming up, 1 break traffic. I mean, by the Regal Cinema again, I will be on my side, go down this sidewalk. 1 passenger in front of me, again, break traffic. By the gardens gap, when you go to the gardens again, someone will break the top. When you come from Lago Road, just go plant up. Why is so lawless in this country? The man when you come at night and just flying, you go about the flying, the breaking the traffic, the roads.
All right, caller, thank you.
So, why should be so?
All right.
So caller, we're hoping that the to be installed and commissioned cameras on our lights will help with some of the violators. We spoke about enforcement of the past, and we're hoping that enforcement instruments will become a point where these vehicles, drivers and owners will receive their tickets, maybe through the mail or some other way.
Hopefully so. We do have a caller via WhatsApp. WhatsApp caller, good morning, you're live.
Yes, good morning, sir, and thanks for taking my call. I want to say how good I really appreciate you all are doing a good job for the year. I've been listening many a times, and it's a very good job you all are doing. And may God continue to bless you all, give all your health and strength and the courage to continue. But I want to call on the nation this morning at large that we will all consider our need to be saved because we're living in the closing up of time and it could happen at any moment. The Lord is coming. And I heard one of the caller call this morning and explaining from the Word of God, the light of God's Word, the lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. And how much we need that Word to shine our path now in these evil days. So much evil in the world today. And the Bible is clear enough. He's saying the last days, this is what is going to happen. So people, we need to get saved this morning. Let us take time off to cry out to God in repentance and coming into the act. Jesus Christ is the act this morning. We need to be saved from sins. We might be saved from whatever else out here, but if our souls are not saved and safe in Christ Jesus, the Lord will sound this trumpet and many people will be left behind. Let us give our life to the Lord. Let us pray as a nation. Let us commit ourselves to God and stop the fighting and the chopping and the stabbing and the killing and all these things. And let us look to the Lord even in this Christmas season. Jesus Christ is the reason for this season, people. Let us give our life to the Lord. Accept that great gift of God's love this morning as a nation and let God do it for us. He is able to see us through. And I want to wish all a blessed and a happy Christmas in the Lord and a blessed happy new year for the future coming, because we do not know what the future holds. Let him hold our hands. Let him be the one to guide us as a people, as a nation. Every life, every home, every family, every decision that we will make in the churches, in the government, every workplaces, let the Spirit of God be the one to lead us and guide us into the truth of God. And we would have
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And it's already 10 a.m. for us.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
It's already 10 a.m. We're about to wrap today's program. We're probably going to take just a final caller. And I beg this caller to be brief, please, because you are a final caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Yes, sir. I want to be brief. You know, we are educating people, but we are educating them, or we're trying to educate them at the wrong time. Less people are at home to listen to this program, and I'm advocating, or I'm suggesting, that this program should be held in the afternoon when most of the people, or the people, would be home. Nevertheless, the Mr. you have there, forgetting him. You don't want me to call his name. He's always doing a good program, but I think we have to make organization or farm organization and try to get people to come to a school where they could be educated formally. This education seems not to be working. I am learning a lot.
Caller, I beg of you to take a wrap, please, because already after 10 a.m.
Not that I do not know a lot, but I'm learning a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Have a good morning yourself. So, McIntyre, that's what we're going to have to take a wrap for today. Yes. As you mentioned, maybe our final program for the year. And I want to wish you all the best. I want to thank you a whole lot, of course, for the year coming. I certainly learned a lot from you in terms of what you offer in terms of our theme or our program or the subject matter that we organized to do when we do have the program.
Yes.
Certainly I'll learn a lot from that, sir.
Yeah, my pleasure. I thank everyone for giving the support for 2024. I look forward towards that in 2025 and a lot more. Just like God gave his son to, as a gift towards the world.
Yeah.
In the early 1960s, he gave me to this world December 17th, and I'm happy to present it as a gift to Grenada, and I hope, Grenada, you appreciate it.
All right. I want to say thank you once again, sir, and until we meet again next year, I want to wish you all the best for the Christmas season and all the best for 2025 to come. And we will see again. And we certainly, the Almighty will give us the health, the strength, and the ability to be here to offer more of this to our listeners and viewers.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, folks, that's what we take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point. Have a good one. That's what we say. Goodbye.
Coming up, it's the season for love, as this movement makes a difference for yet another year. The food we're serving, cocktails flowing, and the rhythms ongoing. Welcome everyone to a truly joyous edition of Caribbean Passport. It's all next.